Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's MJ here with another tutorial. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different from amigurumi and do a granny square tutorial. I've been crocheting some tote bags and one of them is this Sunburst granny square. So today I'll be showing you how to make a Sunburst granny square. For this granny square, we'll be using 8-ply yarn, also known as DK or light worsted weight yarn, in 4 different colors, and we'll be using a 4mm size hook. We will also need scissors and a yarn needle. Okay, let's begin. So the first thing we need to do is make a loop. So let's go ahead and place a slip knot on our hook with our first color and chain 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to join to the first chain that we made. We're going to join with a slip stitch. Okay, so now that we've made our loop, we can go ahead and start working our double crochet stitches into this little gap that we see here in the center. Now we can begin round 1. So let's go ahead and chain 3. And this chain 3 will count as our first double crochet. Now we can work 15 double crochets into this loop. I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of the double crochet stitches off camera, and I will return at the end of the round. So at the end of round 1, we should have a total of 16 stitches, 15 double crochets plus the chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet. So now we can join the round with a slip stitch to the top of chain 3. Now we can fasten off and trim our yarn. Leave a short tail, maybe about 6 inches in length. We'll just give the tail a little tug just to make sure it is secured in place, and that's round 1 complete. For round 2, we'll be using a new colored yarn, so let's go ahead and place a slip knot on our hook. We can begin round 2 from any stitch, but I usually like to attach it to the second to last stitch of the previous round. So here we'll insert our hook, and then grab our working yarn, and then we're going to do a slip stitch to attach the yarn to our round. So there we're just going to pull up a loop, and now we've done a slip stitch and it's secured to our round. We'll also be crocheting over these yarn tails at the back, so we don't have to worry about weaving them in later. With round 2, we'll be making 16 puff stitches all the way around. So to do a puff stitch, I'm just going to pull up this loop to about the same height I want the puff stitch to be. And now I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that same stitch. I'm going to pull up a loop, and now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again, insert it through the same stitch, then pull up a loop. Now we have 5 loops on the hook. We want 7, so we're going to do this one more time. So yarn over, insert to that same stitch, pull up a loop, and now we should have 7 loops on the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So here we're going to yarn over and pull it through all 7 loops. And then to complete the stitch, we're going to chain 1. Okay, so we'll repeat that for the next stitch. Yarn over, make sure that our yarn tails are at the back so that we don't have to weave it in later. Pull up a loop. Okay, so now we have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, insert through the same stitch, pull up a loop. There's 5 loops on the hook. We want 7, so yarn over, insert through the stitch, pull up a loop, and now we should have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and then a chain 1 to complete the stitch, and then repeat for the next stitch. This one might be a little bit tricky because we'll be working our puff stitch into the stitch we slip stitched into previously, but we can do it. Yarn over, insert our hook into that stitch. Make sure our yarn tails are at the back. Okay, so pull up a loop, yarn over again, in through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert through the stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, chain 1 to complete the stitch. So just continue working 1 puff stitch on each stitch all the way around. I'm going to do the rest off camera and we'll meet at the end of the round. So I'm just completing the last puff stitch for this round, and then we'll be able to join the round. Okay, so now we can join. You can join to this stitch here, or you can also join to the chain 1 if you like, but I usually like to join to the one closest to the top of the stitch. So we're just going to join with a slip stitch. Now we can fasten off and then trim the tail about about the same, 6 inches in length. And then give that a tug so it's secured in place, and that's round 2 complete. So for round 3, we'll be using a new color again. So go ahead and place a slip knot on your hook. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to attach our yarn anywhere we like, but this time we're actually going to work in the chain spaces. So I'm going to place my hook into this chain space here. I'm going to yarn over and then create a slip stitch so that our yarn is attached to our round. So now we'll chain 2, and this chain will count as an incomplete double crochet, because what we'll be doing in the chain spaces is we'll be working 4 double crochet clusters. I think it can also be a flat bubble stitch. Okay, so now let's complete this stitch. So this chain 2 counts as an incomplete double crochet. So yarn over and pull up a loop. Now normally with a double crochet you would yarn over and then pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, then pull through 2 loops. But this time we're just gonna yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. So that's like a incomplete double crochet. So yarn over again, insert through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. So yarn over again, insert through the stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. So now you can see we have 4 incomplete double crochet stitches. That's what we want. So we yarn over and then pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And to complete that, we're going to chain 2. Okay, so we repeat those stitches for the next chain space. Okay, so a yarn over, in through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, in through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. Yarn over, in through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over again and pull through 2 loops. Going to do this one more time. Yarn over, through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. And as you can see, there are now 5 loops on the hook, and that's what we want. And yarn over and pull through 5 loops and chain 2 to complete the stitch. And we do the same thing again for the next chain space. So yarn over, in through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on the hook, and then chain 2 to complete that stitch. Okay, so just continue working those clusters or flat bubble stitches into the chain spaces all the way around. I'm going to do the rest of camera and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I'm just finishing off the last stitches for this round, and then we'll be ready to complete this round. Okay, so now we can complete this round with a slip stitch to this chain one next to that first cluster that we made. So just join with a slip stitch to that chain. Okay, so fasten off and trim off the yarn about 6 inches in length, and then give that a tug to secure it. And that's round 3 completed. Okay, so this is round 4, which is the last round. We are going to be working in the chain spaces again, and I've also got my new color attached to my hook already. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into this chain space right here. And then I'm going to create a slip stitch to secure my yarn into the round. So we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will count as our first treble crochet. And here we're going to work 2 treble crochets. So yarn over twice, insert through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we're going to do another treble crochet. So yarn over twice, insert through the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. So now we have 3 treble crochets in there. Then we're going to chain 2. And in the same chain space, we're going to work 3 treble crochets. Okay, so what we've done with those stitches is we've made our first corner. So with those chain 2, between those treble crochets, we've made the corner. Okay, so for the next chain space, we're going to work 3 double crochet stitches. Next chain space, we're going to work 3 half double crochet stitches. So a half double is we yarn over, we pull up a loop, yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. So that's 1, oops, okay, just making sure that we have the yarn tails at the back so that we don't have to weave them in later. Okay, all right, we'll just try that again. That's 1 half double crochet. That's our second one, and a third one. Next chain space, we're going to work 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, so what we've done is we've completed one side of the square. So we're just going to repeat this sequence 3 more times to complete the granny square. So this chain space, we work 3 treble crochets, chain 2, 3 treble crochets, 3 double crochet in the next chain space, 3 half double crochet in the next, and then 3 double crochet in the last chain space. So in this chain space, we're going to work our next corner. So here we're going to make 3 treble crochets, chain 2, and then 3 treble crochets. Three double crochet in the next chain space. And then 3 half double crochet stitches in the next chain space. And then 3 double crochet stitches in the next chain space. Okay, so just continue with those stitches with that sequence all the way to the end of the round. I'm going to continue working off camera and then I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I'm just completing the last double crochet stitches for this round, and this granny square is almost done. Okay, just to recap, we have our 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles, 3 double crochets, 3 half double crochets, and 3 double crochets. And just repeat that around. So we now have our granny square. So we just need to slip stitch to the top of our chain 4 to complete this granny square. Okay, so let's slip stitch to the top of our chain 4 to complete this round, to complete our granny square. Now we fasten off and then trim our yarn tail. We're almost done. I'm just going to flip this over to get rid of the excess yarn tails. I'm not going to cut the yarn tail that we just fastened off. I'm not cutting that just yet, and I'm not cutting this center tail just yet. We're going to weave them in later. These ones I'll trim because they're weaved in. We crocheted over them earlier. So now we can weave in these yarn tails. So let's grab our yarn needle and weave them in. So we're just going to hide this yarn tail here behind these stitches. So just draw it through these stitches. I like to do a little back stitch just to make sure that the yarn tail is secured and it's not going to unravel. So I do that a few times until I'm happy that it's secured, and then I trim the yarn. And then we just do the same thing for this yarn tail. Now with this one, we just have to be very careful when we're hiding it behind these stitches. We just have to be careful that we don't pull the yarn too tight, because otherwise we're going to create this cinch. We're going to pull the yarn down. It's going to look very uneven. So just be very careful that we don't pull too tight or too hard on that very first stitch. So we just carefully hide it behind all these stitches. And the same thing, I like to do a back stitch just to make sure that the yarn is secured and it's not going to unravel. So do that a few times, and then once you're happy and you think that it's secured enough, you can trim the yarn. And finally, our Sunburst granny square is all done. So I made one earlier, and this one, as you can see, looks a little bit more flat. The edges are a little bit more straight and the corners are more defined as opposed to the one that we just made. And that's because I had it sitting on a blocking board. Now the blocking board just stretches the work a little bit, makes the edges straight, the corners, it stops the corners from curling. If you don't have a blocking board, a foam board and pins will do. So here is our Sunburst granny square. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crocheting!